Good morning everybody, happy weekend. It's Saturday the 23rd of July and the time is 10:36 a.m. I'm not working. I'm actually parked up round the corner from Sheffield Station and I'm picking up my daughter who's coming from Lincoln. She lives there, she's a teacher, and as usual the trains from Sheffield to Manchester have been cancelled. This is a very, very frequent thing and it is very annoying. So I've had to agree to pick her up from Sheffield Station and then take her back to ours in Oldham. Do this quite regular. I'm having to use a van, which is not ideal because it's difficult obviously to park in centres of the city. But my wife's got the car, so I'm using the van. I don't really use the van for anything private normally because one, it's too big, and I like to keep the work vehicle separate from the private vehicle because of fuel and things like that. Anyway, minor detail. So the week itself, again, it's been a good week on the whole. Over my target. And when I say my target, I mean the minimum that I can take to give myself a small-ish wage, not a massive wage, and meet all my running costs and put money aside for contingencies, etc. So again, 5 weeks in, we're doing okay. 1 week I made my minimum. Every other week I have exceeded my minimum. It hasn't been easy, and there's been days where it's been disappointing, like the other day when I was stuck in Newcastle. But part of that is my fault because I hung around there for 4.5 hours, and really I should have travelled down towards Yorkshire, because when I eventually did travel down towards Yorkshire I got some more work which made up my day's target, and just meant I finished a little bit later than I'd hoped to finish. I was kind of hoping to finish just after dinner time that day, but you know, again, it's an experience, it's learning, and again, you know, I'll get better at this as we go along. And yesterday was a decent day. It was Friday. I did actually get a job. I accepted a job. I'd bid for a job going from Trafford Park to Glasgow and on to Aberdeen. Now I do like them long jobs with a nice long drive. It's not to everybody's taste, but I kind of like the long drive and the relaxation. I knew full well I would be driving back from that because it was going to be a Friday, and obviously I'm not going to get anything back on a Saturday or anything, so I wouldn't be staying over. But the price reflected, you know, the cost of the fuel to get there and back, the cost of my time it would take, and my running costs, and they accepted that price. However, I didn't do it because I didn't like their terms. And what I'm saying is that when, you know, you press that, sometimes they send a job through and it has a little green button that says accept or you know, reject, and I thought I'll just read it before I accept it. And I read it, and some of the wording I wasn't keen on. It was like as if they were looking for an excuse not to pay you. You know, if you don't do this, we will not pay you. If you don't do this, we will not pay you. And I thought, that is a lot of money, this. And if they're then looking for excuses not to pay it, then, you know, I really don't want to take any chances. The chances are, obviously, I would have been paid, but I just didn't like it. So I rejected it. I rang them up and said, yeah, I'm sorry, I'm not prepared to do that job. I don't like the terms and conditions that you put. And I left it at that. I hope I don't get any negative feedback. It's not as if I've, like, you know, not turned up for the job or anything like that. I've done a sloppy job. I've simply been honest and told them I didn't like it. And I ended up then taking a job that was involved going to Burnley to collect 2 pallets and then travelling to Manchester, Trafford Park, to collect a further pallet from a shipping agent and then taking them down to Birmingham Airport. I got a good price for it simply because I factored in the cost of going to Burnley to collect them 2 from Oldham. The journey down to Trafford Park, I added £25 on for a second collection, which I always do. Obviously, it means I don't always get jobs. And also, the goods that were going from Trafford Park to Birmingham Airport were hazardous. Now, they weren't hazardous as in you need to be fully ADR, but you would have to be ADR aware to take them. And so I factored that in and charged the ADR rate from from Manchester to Birmingham. And all in all, the price was good, and they seemed to accept it. Well, they obviously accepted it fine because they gave me the job. Traffic was heavy because of the bloody kids finishing school early and holidays coming. But I got to Birmingham Airport. It was kind of like just after 1 o'clock maybe, and found the place. That's a bit of a go around the back and find their unit. But got there, got unloaded, and it was the actual people who I was delivering to, the people who gave me the job. It was their depot, so it was great because I didn't have to mess about with pods, because I just kind of gave them all to them, and they said, no, that's absolutely fine, you give them to us, we'll accept them, but we'll sign your thing for you anyway, but all you need to do is just send your invoice on. So I said, well, here it comes, press the button, and there it was done. So that was good. And then I left the back of Birmingham Airport and found somewhere to park around the corner while I looked for another job. I knew the M6 was murder going back up, and I thought, I might try and get something up towards Leicester way and go back the other way. Bid for a couple, didn't get them, and then a job come out, B26, which is where I was, to Manchester. So I thought, well, small van job that. But I thought, it'll get me back, and I've got a good price for coming here. So I bid for that at just over £1 a mile, a shade over £1 a mile for a small van, thinking that this time of day they might not want the traffic, and they give me the job because they might have seen where I was, but I got it, and it was Birmingham Airport Jet 2 maintenance bit, and I was picking up a part and taking it to Jet 2 at Manchester Airport. So I had to faff about a bit finding where it was, Hanger Lane or something like that. And parts of security, they then call the Jet 2 guys who come out to you, and then it gets passed to you. Probably some kind of customs thing where it goes through. They check it first before they can let it leave the airport. I suppose I understand. Otherwise you could smuggle all sorts out that way, couldn't you? And then took that up to Jet 2 at Manchester Airport. Took a bit of a while to get there, but got there in the end, and delivered it, got home 6 o'clock, and it turned out to be a good day and a good week. So I was happy. When I say a good week, it meant that I'd exceeded my minimum target, and also it would pay me a good wage out of it as well. I'm not talking millionaire status here, but it's a good week. It leaves enough to pay me a wage, pay all my expenses, and put money aside. So that to me is a good week. Other people may want a lot more money than that, and if I get more, then I'm absolutely chuffed that I get it. But I'm still learning. There's still time to develop, and till and things like that. So that was it. The week was good. I'm happy. I had that rejected job. I don't know if other people have rejected jobs because of that other thing, but I also think that it's definitely that there are some shippers on here. Some of them are getting more realistic and accepting what realistic bids, factoring where you're going, and it's a difficult area. But some of them, like this chipper, who I am now considering going to block from my feed. Again, I put a bid in for a job, and again they rang with like, oh, we've only got, it was £90 basically, £90 I bid for a job, a long wheelbase van job at just over 110 a mile. So it wasn't even extortionate. And they rang and they said, oh, we've only got £80 on that job. And it's a load of shite, it's rubbish, that they're charging a minimum of £1.50 a mile. Yet they still do that, and they do it all the time. And quite frankly, I think people should stick to the guns and put your bids in at the minimum you would accept it for. Don't just bid for just to get the job. Bid for what you want for the job. And more people that do that, the better it will be. And Neil did something about it recently, about the prices. And he's right, as are other people. I'm not asking for extortionate money. I just want enough money to run my van and pay myself a wage, a living out of it. And not to live, not to be on the breadline and make a loss. And the more people that get the message to these shippers, look, this is the minimum that we can do it for, to actually earn a living and not just be on the breadline, the better. Because and I know that they're making money. They wouldn't be in the game if they weren't making money. I accept that sometimes there's jobs that get posted that they can't clear and they might do it at break even, but they're not out to make a loss, surely. And the more people they do it for, it's like when you see this job pays and it pays £90 and you think, well, that's not worth, it's not worth it to me. I won't do that for £90. I'll bid and say, I want £130 for it. And I don't care whether they say it's worth £90. That's what I want. And if you want it covering, that's what I want to do it. And the more people that do that, in my opinion, and I'm a novice, I accept that, the better. Because people have messaged me on here and saying, oh, you stay on the CX, it'll make you bored and this and that. And obviously I'm sorry that you've probably had a bad experience on the CX, but on the whole, I am going to make a living out of it. Now, I don't have any customers of my own. Everything I do is on the CX. I have some shippers now who do ring me because I've done jobs for them. And, they've given me fair prices if I've been able to do it for them. So that's great. I don't have any customers on my own. And at one point I thought I don't want any of my own, but I am now considering perhaps getting some business cards made up and getting a few of these customers that have approached me in the past, maybe give them the card and say, look, you ring me. My biggest worry was, because I'm a one-man band, would I be able to cover the work? If I've already taken a job and then they ring me and I'm, on the way to Plymouth or something, I'd be letting them down. But obviously I was watching, one of Freddie's videos, and he'll post a job if he can't cover it himself, and I think I'd consider doing that. I'd check the feedback of the person they give it to, because I'd want someone who did a good job, and I'd pay them a rate that I'd want to do it for. I mean, I'd have to take a little bit because you've got a bit of admin and you can have to probably end up paying them before you get your money, but might consider doing that. I'm going to have a think about it. And does anybody else do it on a regular basis? And if you do, how do you work it? I mean, if you're charging your own customer, £1.50 a mile, what do you do? Perhaps take £120, £125 a mile off someone to cover your own expenses. You're not going to have many expenses, but you're going to have, a bit of time and admin to sort out, I suppose. And then, in my case, I'm only allowed to give 14 days before I have to pay them, and I might be waiting, a month. So it's worth pondering, and if anybody's got any ideas on that, let me know, because there are a few people out there who have suggested to me that they would like to use me, and I've resisted because I wanted to be this free spirit. But if I can cover work occasionally by using the CX, and I do pay for the CX, then maybe I'll think about it. But I'd have to get the customers first though. So everyone's doing okay. I've been loving all the videos that have been coming out. Some people don't seem to be all that prolific. I'd be interested in seeing more. I especially enjoyed Neptune's one about tyres, which went completely over my head, but I watched it right to the end and pretended I knew what you were talking about, Neil. But I get the gist of what you were saying, I think. But it made good viewing, because I had to watch it twice to understand it. So you'd have got good viewership from that one, mate. So that's it. The week again, not bad. My mate Tom, who started last week, has smashed it this week as a new starter. Absolutely smashed it. In fact, he's working today. He's got a two-man job on, where he's going to a next warehouse in Doncaster. picking up some furniture and delivering it into London, and he's priced it so that he's took his brother with him and giving him 100 quid as well, and factored in every other cost, and he just snapped his hand off. So I might consider doing something myself and getting one of my sons out of bed and making him do some work. I never even thought of doing something like that, to be honest with you. ADR work's not been all that prolific. There has been work, and I've got the odd bit and bob. And I think if I'm going to develop some of my own customers, that would be the path I'd take. I'd try and develop some ADR customers. So that's it. That's my video done. It was just a brief little update. I hope everybody is doing well. And thank you for everyone who's subscribed so far. My quest to overtake Neil and Small Man, Big Man still continues. So if you can please subscribe, like and share my video, it might help me. Somebody somewhere as well, I've added 1 subscriber to the band I'm in, the pleeeese. If you're tempted to look it up, have a look, and if you can like and share that, that'd be even great, because we might even get that up to over 30. You never know. But thumbs up to everyone. Thank you for subscribing, and post some more videos, gents, because I'm always enjoy looking at them. And you, everyone, will be careful out there, and I'll post something when I've got something vaguely interesting to say, but sometimes I bore myself. You take care.